Yes, yes. It is the Leaders Lounge. How is everyone? I am Dawn Marie Morris, of course, and this is your place to get all of your leadership and professional development goodness. I'm always excited, but I'm super excited today because we are going to talk about power moves and the significance of the 25th year. 2025 is right around the corner. We have an amazing program that's coming out. We did it last year and we're bringing it back again because it was so impactful for all of our participants. So we want you to definitely be a part of this year's Free to SOAR. And we're going to talk about it and add this element of power moves. So it is a planning and visioning party of sorts, virtual party of sorts, where we are going to come together and not wait until January to have vision board parties and start thinking about what we're going to do with the year, but we're going to start January ready by having this session, Free to SOAR 2025 Power Moves, where you will come to us in a virtual world and we will have our plan for 2025 ready to go and ready to execute at a high level. I can tell y'all, if you have not already, on our YouTube channel, we have testimonials from people who attended the session last year. Absolutely amazing. We're going to share that with you as well, so you will know how impactful this program is, and it's so necessary to be ready when the year starts. You don't want to start January and not have your plan in place. So I'm going to move this here one more time, and then we're just going to let it do what it does from here on out, okay? So before I get started, I do also, of course, have to let you know about our book, which is Unpacking Agape, the 7 Languages of Intentional Leadership. And you can get that at worldclasstraining.net/agape. Worldclasstraining.net/agape. The 7 Languages of Intentional Leadership is our latest book. And it is absolutely, again, amazing because it talks about how to move from being an individual contributor to a leader of people. Some people think it's easy, but it is absolutely not, because your mindset has to shift from tactical thinking to one of what we call 3D or intentional leadership. And then we walk through the principles of being a servant leader. All right. So make sure that you pick that up at worldclasstraining.net/agape. I'm going to go ahead and hide that because I got to jump into what we're going to be talking about today, which is power moves and the significance of the 25th year. So in thinking about 2025, I did some research for what the number 25 means in terms of spiritual significance or significance in the world, because I knew that the 25th year in terms of wedding anniversaries or relationship anniversaries is that silver jubilee year. So I knew it was significant for that reason. You know, you've celebrated a quarter of a century with a person, and there's something to be said about not only that time, but there is something to be said about the strength of that relationship. Well, in life, or as we're moving through lives personally, 25 has a significant meaning. And I'm going to talk about those because those are things, those meanings are what's going to play into this power move idea. Now, as we're listening, if you are inspired and you want to go ahead and get yourselves enrolled in Free to SOAR 2025, I want you to go to worldclasstraining.net/SOAR. That's worldclasstraining.net/SOAR. The site is up. It is ready to take your registration. Registration is open, and it will stay open until a couple of weeks before. But why wait? Just go ahead and register and make sure you got that out the way, and you will be ready to go on December the 1st, which is when class begins. Class begins on December the 1st. All right, so I'm going to leave that up for a moment. But let's jump into these power moves and let's talk about the significance of the 25th year. So, when we're thinking about the 25th year, there are 4 principles that I want to share with you all that I want you to be thinking about, because these are going to uh, become our foundation and your foundation for us when we get in class. 4 principles related to the 25th year of the second millennia, or the second thousand, the 2025. I think I mixed it up a little bit, but the second millennia, which is 2025. I think I'm saying that right, but if I'm not, check me on that. I thought I looked that up, and I think that but maybe that's just 2000. But I think 10 is 1 millennia, and then 20 is 2 millennia, and there's 2025. But at any rate, 25 is definitely a significant number. So I'm just going to keep moving with that. All right. So the 4 things that I want you all to keep in mind. The first one is that the 25 is a period, or connotes a period of spiritual awakening. And so I'm starting with that one because as we are living our lives, whether we are highly religious or not, we have to understand that we are spiritual beings. And in order for us to really move ourselves forward, we have to go through a state of awakening. Now, what does that look like? Because you would say, hey, you know what? I'm already alive, right? So I'm awake. Open my eyes in the morning, I'm awake. But what this is talking about is your internal being, and you coming alive and being renewed. When you go through a spiritual awakening, you start to see things differently, which ends up undergirding how you make certain decisions. As they say, things that used to mean something to me don't mean anything to me anymore. Or things that I used to get excited about, I don't get excited about anymore. The things that I find important in life have changed because I've gone through a spiritual awakening. So the 25th year is a year of spiritual awakening. So as you're thinking about being free to soar, and when you come to class, we'll really delve into what we're talking about in terms of the elements necessary to soar, because we use the ego mentality as our basis for being able to soar. But the first thing that you have to do is internally go through an awakening that says, it's time to do something different. It's time to add to my arsenal. It's time to take good and make it better, right? And that comes from this first place. So the first thing that we are going to do as we are seeking to have power moves in 2025 is to go through a moment of spiritual awakening, and it is going to have to be intentional. I tell people often that I love the space of just getting quiet, because when I get quiet, then the universe, my higher power, can speak to me and tell me what my next best move is. That is a form of spiritual awakening. That's the way that I'm able to do it best. You have to find out for yourselves, what is the way that you're able to spiritually awaken yourself so that you can know what your next best move is. All right. So that's the first thing, spiritual awakening. The second thing may seem to be a little oxymoronish. Oxymoronish, kind of like an oxymoron. So let me just pull it up. The second thing is stability and change. Stability and change. So the reason that I say this is because some people think that, well, How can these two be listed together? Because stability connotes things being stagnant to a certain degree, right? They connote that things are remaining the same. And then change, of course, is more dynamic. So how can this these two ideals come together? Well, what I read is that when you're thinking about stability and change, for the year 2025, and particularly the 25 piece of this, is what it's saying is that this is the year, or this number represents balance as well as change and growth. So how does this work? Well, what you can think about when you're thinking about stability is the seesaw, right? So when you're on a seesaw and both of the weights are pretty equal, then you're going to be leveled off on that seesaw. That's comfortable, right? But within that, you also do want to have some change in your life. Now, this change, though, comes within the structure of also being balanced. The change, I'll say it again, also comes within the structure of being balanced. So, why is that important? Well, it's important because of this reason. If you have change and you haven't had kind of that um, balanced weight in your mental seesaw, when change happens, you can feel anxious and you can feel too rocky to move through in a balanced way, or in a way that you are kind of floating, like we talk about in Free to Soar, when the storms arise. But if you have a stable mentality, and if you are stabilized in knowing that I may not be able to um, dictate what is going to happen in each moment, but I can dictate my positive response to that, then I understand that I am remaining stable and balanced in the midst of change. And I also welcome change, because change, we know, is just simply a part of this thing called life. So as we're walking into the 25th year and we're thinking about making power moves, we cannot make power moves unless we have a balanced thought process, as we are allowing our lives to go through the necessary changes that have to take place in order for us to be our most successful selves. So, the second thing that we are thinking about as we are planning to make power moves in 2025 is the idea of allowing stability and change to reside in our minds concurrently. Make sense? Awesome. So that's the second piece. So the first one is in the spiritual awakening. Hey, I'm alive, not just alive physically, but I'm alive internally. And I have allowed the space and the freedom in my spirit to bring the goodness of this world into my being. Second thing, I am stable in my mind, and I'm also open to the necessity of life that allows and causes change. Second thing. Third thing, which is right in line with what we are doing when we're talking about the Free to Soar program, which is personal development. Personal development. I was so excited, of course, as someone who specializes in leadership and professional and personal development, to see that personal development is a part of the number 25. So we know what this is. As we are growing and developing in life, we have got to get comfortable consistently developing ourselves personally. I'll share something with you all. I was going through, and I'm just going to close out right quickly because I want to just get a face to face with everybody. So I was researching and coming up with some different promotions for Free to Soar, and when I looked up, it was about training and about I think I may have even put in development, if I'm not mistaken. Everything that I was getting back was speaking about physical development, physical training, and making sure that our bodies look good, right? Because that's often the focus on our outside and our external. And we definitely want to look good on the outside. But if we do not take care of the inside of our mental, of making sure that we continue to grow personally, and when I say grow personally, I'm talking about what books are we reading? How are we learning to work better together in our relationships? How are we pursuing opportunities that make us better quality individuals? This is necessary and it is vital to have a maximum life. So you want to have personal developments. If you're talking about making power moves, it's not going to happen if you are still operating with the same developmental acumen that you had 10 years ago, 5 years ago, even last year, with technological changes, with changes in the environment. And when I say environment, I'm not just talking about the weather, I'm talking about the economic climate, I'm talking about the social climate, I'm talking about the way people do business. It continues to change. And if you don't take the opportunity to grow personally and grow professionally, you will miss the mark. I have been talking to a gentleman, and hopefully he'll be a part of this program, who's a more seasoned gentleman. But what I was so impressed with when I was listening to him and watching his program is that he's probably at least 20 years my senior, but he has embraced AI, and he's talking about AI for how you can integrate it into your webinars. And he's talking about how you can, he does continuous Zooms on a regular basis so that he's growing and developing his business. And again, 20 years my senior. And I am not a spring chicken. I'm not super old, but I'm not a spring chicken. So to see him move like that, I'm like, that's what we're talking about. And that's how you end up living your best life, by not being stagnant in your personal development. So as we're thinking about 2025, making power moves, make this the year, especially since that is the significance. One of the other significant pieces of 25 is personal development. Make sure that you take advantage of personally developing yourselves, and do that by going to worldclasstraining.net/SOAR. It's a great way to get started. All right. So now we've got three things, right? We've got awakening, we've got stability and change. Let's just add them to the stage. Awakening, stability and change, personal development. Now, this last one, y'all, this one, when I read it, I said, oh my goodness, this is huge. This is huge. And it's huge because I've been saying to myself, running a business, and it'll be 5 years and a couple of short weeks that I've been in business. It is a lot to just everything. Running a business, everything is just a lot. I love it. I wouldn't trade it for the world because I get to impact lives in the way that I do. And every day I get to do something that I enjoy. I may not enjoy everything about running a business, but every day I can say I do something that I enjoy. With that, being 5 years in, I've gotten my brain so accustomed to running and running and running and running and running and running. I feel guilty sometimes when I want to exhale, or I want to take a break, or I may not want to be on social media, or I may not want to just be doing the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And when I read that 25 also signifies the number of grace upon grace, I said, you know what? I know this is going to be the year for me. Now, why is it called grace upon grace? Well, for those people who are Bible scholars, and again, this is not about uh, the Bible, although I do believe in it and I live by it. The number 5 is grace, right? And so when you're talking about 25, you're talking about 5 times 5. And that's why you have grace upon grace as a connotation for 25. So as we're thinking about this year, we need to hold that fast to our souls and our spirits. And I know I'm going to be very intentional about doing that this year. Um, it's not a license to be lazy. It's a license to give yourself space for grace. Meaning, I may not get it perfect all the time, right? Meaning, I may need to have a break and it's okay, right? It means that I can say, I have to exhale. And it's okay. It's grace upon grace. We can be our worst enemies when we are too hard on ourselves. So, as we're entering this year and we're thinking about making power moves, I'm also a personal trainer. And I know that just like you have to work a muscle out in order to get stronger, you also have to let the muscle rest so that it can recover. So as we get into 2025, think about power is not just in the going, it's also in the retraction, and it's in the allowing the space of grace to enter our lives. That's power. So, power moves. The significance of the 25th year. The 25th year of 20, I think it's the second millennia. I'm pretty sure with me saying that, the second millennia, the 25th year of the second millennia. Y'all check that, but I believe that's right. The 25th year of the second millennia, power moves. In order for us to have them, we are going to execute these 4 things. The first one is our spiritual awakening. Second one is stability and change. Third thing is personal development. And the fourth thing is grace upon grace. Free to Soar, which is coming up on December the 1st. It will be 4 Sundays. 4 Sundays. Let's just remove all of these. 4 Sundays. It will begin at 6 o'clock Central Standard Time, and it will go to 7:30 each Sunday. It is a virtual training session. Virtual training session. When you register, a Zoom link will be sent to you, and you will use that Zoom link when you sign on each week. This training class is absolutely amazing. Why do I say that? Well, because it is. It is going to help you each week with planning your year. And we're also going to deal with how to handle possible obstacles, not possible, but real, because you're going to have some obstacles. It's going to help you with how to shift your thinking so that when You have opportunities come arise. You know how to position yourselves. You know how to position your thinking. You know how to strategize so that you can accomplish what you want to accomplish. Whether you are talking about um, growing in your career on a job, or whether you're talking about being in business, Freed to Soar is a class that you want to make sure that you are a part of. I am going to actually show you all the testimonial video following this so that everything flows together and you have an opportunity to really hear from people who were a part of the session last year. And this year, I'm going to tell you right now, we're going to top last year. I have some hot things in the hopper. And so I'm just waiting to release the information to you all. But you want to be a part of Free to Soar because you don't want to wait until next year to start doing a vision board party or to start writing out what you're going to do for the year. This is fourth quarter 2024. We're already into the plan that you have for this quarter, right? So we want to make sure that we have the plan ready when we start in January for the year. And I'm going to tell y'all right now, some of the people who were a part of 2024 and who executed the plan, the way we wrote it, including myself, saw significant increase financially, in their relationships, in their motivation for life. Significant increases. So this course, I'm telling you, not just because I'm doing it, but because I know that it is factual, it will deliver everything you need to be successful in 2025. You will be making power moves. I can almost guarantee it. I can almost guarantee it. I don't want to guarantee anything because if it doesn't happen, uh, sometimes life shows up and it doesn't necessarily happen that way. Or sometimes people don't execute and then they blame the person who's doing the training. But I know that won't happen in this case. But at any rate, I can tell you that you will be better for the journey. I can definitely tell you you will be better for the journey when you enroll in Free to Soar 2025 so that you can make power moves next year. So again, it's worldclasstraining.net/SOAR. And you can pick up the book, Unpacking Agape, the 7 Languages of Intentional Leadership at worldclasstraining.net/agape. That's worldclasstraining.net/agape. So you all, it's been a pleasure as always sharing time with you. I look forward to seeing you all in Free to Soar. Tell a friend, bring a friend so that on the calls, on the virtual sessions, we all can share. I make all of my training classes virtual or live, super engaging, super interactive. So you will, that hour, it's almost like the Price is Right for those people who remember the Price is Right when we used to say it was the fastest hour in television. This is the fastest hour and a half each session because you'll be doing activities, breakout rooms, and having a whole lot of great discussion and activities that are going to help you to make power moves in 2025. So please make sure to go register for that. Pick up the book at worldclasstraining.net/agape. I'm going to just hide that just in case I have any challenges as I wrap up, and then just say to you all, remember, when you are better, we are absolutely better. Take care.